Hey, fabulous souls, welcome to my unwavering thoughts. Here, we're all about growing, thriving, becoming our best selves inside and out. It is also about leveling up, whether it's how we treat ourselves, others, and just life in general. So, join me on this podcast as I share my thoughts on personal growth, self love, seeing yourself the way God sees you, my rookie tips on life, relationships, and of course, love. Let's grow together. Hi, fabulous souls. Welcome back to my unwavering thoughts, the podcast where we dive into the ideas and practices that help us live with purpose, depth, and joy. I am your host, Omanda Mati, and today we're exploring a topic that I think can transform the way we approach life itself. And the title for today's episode is titled Creating a Life of Minimalism and Meaning. Creating a life of minimalism and meaning. I'm sure you're wondering where I'm getting at with this topic. When you hear minimalism, you might think of clean white spaces, capsule wardrobes, or getting rid of everything you own. And while those elements can be part of minimalism, this lifestyle is about, much more than just decluttering your space. It's about decluttering your life, your mind, your schedule, even your relationships, and focusing on the things that genuinely matter to you as a person. So today we're going to dive into what minimalism really means, how it can add richness and intention to our lives, and practical steps to start creating a minimalist lifestyle that aligns with your values and goals. So if you're someone who feels overwhelmed by stuff, commitments, or even just the outside noise of everyday life, this episode is for you. So let's start with, by talking about what minimalism is not. Minimalism is not about deprivation or trying to live with as little as possible just for the sake of it. It is not about a rigid set of rules or creating a life that feels empty. So at its core, minimalism is about intentionality. It's also about making conscious choices that allow you to focus on the things that truly matter to you, like I said earlier. In a world that constantly encourages us to want more, buy more, and do more, minimalism is a refreshing alternative. It is a lifestyle that asks, what truly brings me joy? What truly adds value to my life? And instead of accumulating more things or saying yes to everything, it encourages us to let go of the excesses, the stuff, the commitments, and even the expectations that don't align with who we truly are. Minimalism then becomes a tool that helps us create space for what is meaningful to us. It is not about living with less, it is about living with more intention, more purpose, and more clarity. Imagine waking up in a space that feels calm, where you know everything, where you know exactly where things are. Just imagine that. And where every item around you has a purpose, and where everything needs to be placed and why they are being placed there. That is the power of minimalism. So let's get into how minimalism can actually make life richer and more meaningful. One of the biggest lessons I've learned is that minimalism allows us to focus on quality over quantity. This doesn't just apply to the things that we own, but to the way we spend our time, the people we surround ourselves with, and even the thoughts we entertain. For example, instead of having a closet overflowing with clothes that I barely wear, I now focus on having fewer pieces that I genuinely love and feel good in each time. Each of these items serves a purpose, and each one feels like a reflection of my style and values. It's the same with my schedule. By saying no to commitments that don't align with my goals, I create space to say yes to the things that truly matter to me. So that's what minimalism is to me. Minimalism also teaches us to slow down when we are not constantly chasing after the next thing. Whether it's a new purchase or a new goal or a new distraction, we are able to appreciate the present moment more deeply. We find joy in simple things, moments of quiet, in solitude, in spending time with loved ones, in pursuing passions that fulfill us, that make us happy, pursuing purpose. But minimalism isn't just about letting go of physical clutter, it is also about letting go of mental clutter. I'm going somewhere with this. As human beings, we all have beliefs, all have habits, and even fears that hold us back from living our fullest potential, our fullest lives. Minimalism, challenges us to look inward and ask, what mental and emotional baggage am I holding on to? Are there thought patterns or habits that no longer serve me? So, for example, one thing I used to struggle with was the belief that I had to be busy all the time to be successful or valuable. Yeah, I'm a workaholic, and to me, that is stressful. But I feel guilty if I always feel guilty, when I took a day to rest, or if I wasn't constantly checking things off my to-do list. But through minimalism, I've learned to let go of that belief. I've realized that true success is about living a life aligned with my values, my purpose, not about how much I accomplish a day. I remember when I used to feel so sad about not being productive in a day. Or even this days back to even a few days ago where I didn't do much. I was trying to get ideas for my book, and I realized that, I haven't done so much today. I've just been pressing my phone. And I'm not trying to encourage laziness, but I'm just saying that I beat myself up that day because of the fact that I didn't do much. So creating a minimalist life for me it involves clearing out the mental clutter that weighs us down, the perfectionism, the guilt, the constant comparison. When we let go of these things, we create room for peace, clarity, and also self-acceptance. And isn't that, ultimately what we are all looking for? To just have that peace and quiet, that clarity of that freeing of your mind to just be. Now, minimalism also allows us to be more intentional with our relationships. It doesn't mean that we cut people out of our lives to keep things minimal. Instead, it's about investing deeply in the relationships that bring us joy, connection, and growth. It's also about choosing to spend time with people who align with our values, who encourage us to be more authentic, to be our unique and authentic selves, and people who support us in our journey. For me, this means focusing on a few deep connections rather than spreading myself too thin and having so many friends. Instead of trying to please everyone or keep up with a large circle of friends or large social circle, I prioritize the relationships that truly matter. This has made my friendships richer, more meaningful, and more fulfilling. By being more selective, I'm able to show up more fully and more authentically in my relationships. Minimalism in this way invites, us to create connections that are rooted in authenticity and depth rather than surface level interactions like hi. It reminds us that quality time with the right people is more valuable than quality time with everyone. Yeah, that was one thing I've come to realize. So, to me, how can you start creating a life of minimalism and meaning? Here are a few steps that I wrote down that have helped me on my own minimalist journey, and I hope they will be helpful to you too. Number one, I identify my values. I had to identify my value. This used to be a struggle for me, but I had to sit down and think and identify what my values were. So take some time to reflect on what truly matters to you. What are your core values? What are the things that make you feel alive, that gives your life purpose and joy? When you're clear on your values, to be honest, it becomes easier to let go of anything that does not align at all. It could be in a relationship with your friends or even with your boyfriend. You could realize that, you don't even align in this way. So how do we help ourselves? How do we help each other grow if we don't align? If our values are different. Another second thing I want you to do is declutter one area at a time. So minimalism can feel overwhelming at first, especially if you have a lot of stuff. Start with one small area. Like, I'm not talking about I'm not just talking about your closet, but you can start with that. You can start with one small area like your drawer or your closet. Go through each item and ask yourself, does this serve a purpose? Does this bring me joy? Am I comfortable in this? Does this reflect who I am? Let go of anything or things that don't necessarily mean anything to you or does not meet the criteria, basically, and enjoy the feeling of freedom that comes with it. When I was moving out from my former house to my new place, I checked out a lot of my clothes and I was like, girl, you gotta throw away these things, bruh. I had to nah, this is not me anymore. Skinny tight jeans, hell no. Cleavage, oh hell no. I've gone past that stage. There are just certain things I was like, I'm done now. I'm done with this. And then when I look at my wardrobe, I'm like, oh my god, I don't have clothes anymore. But bottom line is that these clothes are what I am comfortable in. These are the clothes I like to wear. These are the clothes I want people to see me in. Do you get? So I don't want to have clothes that I'm not comfortable in just so that I can meet a certain criteria that does not even matter to me, So another third thing I would like you to do is be intentional with your time. I've made so many mistakes, a lot of mistakes with this particular one, but I like to think that minimalism isn't just about things. Like I said before, it's about how we spend our time. Take a look at your schedule and commitments. Are there activities or obligations that don't align with your values or just genuinely bring you joy? Consider letting them go. Make space for the things that truly fulfill you, whether it's spending time with loved ones, pursuing a passion, or simply just resting. I remember when I would just go out for parties that did not make any sense. When I eventually now go to the parties, I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? I don't want to be here. I don't want to be in a place where everyone is smoking and drinking and everything. I like to be in a place where I can have conversations with my friends or whoever I'm around with, or even a very nice event where I am meeting new people and taking pictures and just being my authentic self. I say checking out certain things and even certain people that will say, oh, let's go and club where? Are you not tired of that life? But there are times where like, nah, this is not worth my time. Even people, my loves, people, you can declutter. I'm not saying cut off anyone. You can just tell yourself that okay, I've come to realize that for my own sanity and peace, I have to declutter certain people. Not that you're cutting them off, you're just realizing that you cannot spend as much time with them as you used to, maybe because they make you feel a certain way. It could be anything, yeah, basically that's number 3. And so number 4 is to practice gratitude. Minimalism and gratitude go hand in hand. By focusing on what we have, rather than constantly wanting more, we cultivate a sense of contentment and peace. Take time each day to appreciate the simple things: a quiet morning, a very great meal, a good meal, healthy meal, a conversation with a friend. Very important. Gratitude reminds us that life's richness often comes from the small everyday moments. I find it very hard to practice gratitude. Sometimes I feel like, am I not just being toxic with positivity? I always try to think that, oh my god, things are not going well in my life. It's so easy to be like, oh, things are not going great. My loves, wake up that morning and think to yourself, what am I grateful for today? I'm grateful that my TV is functioning. I'm grateful that my AC is working. Because trust me, this AC has given me headache. God, you don't want to know. I'm grateful that I have clothes to wear. I'm grateful that I can see. I'm grateful that I can feel, I can touch, I can breathe. There are so many things to be grateful for. I'm grateful that my mom is alive, my dad is alive, my siblings are doing great. I'm grateful that my siblings are successful in their career path, those things are the things I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for the friends I have. You think they don't matter, but they do. And when you practice gratitude, you tend to realize that you're happier. And God loves it when we are grateful. Especially grateful to Him for simple things. And the last thing I would like to say is the last on my list basically is simply simplify your goals. Simplify your goals means instead of trying to achieve everything all at once, focus on one or two goals that truly matter to you. Take it one step at a time. Minimalism is about going deep rather than wide. Yep, got that right. Is going deep than wide. When you focus your energy on a few meaningful goals, you're more likely to make progress and experience fulfillment. This is profound for me because I had to sit down and ask myself certain things like, oh, I want to achieve this, I want to achieve that. There's tiny steps that will take me there, and I have to start small until I can build up to certain bigger goals. So yeah, instead of trying to achieve everything at once, focus on one or two goals that truly matter to you, and work on that and make sure that you make it happen or make it work for you. So minimalism is a journey. It's not a destination. It's a journey. It's a process. It's about learning to be more intentional, more present, and more at peace with who you are and what you have. It's about creating a life that's rich in meaning, where we are no longer weighed down by unnecessary things. So when we embrace minimalism, we give ourselves the gift of focus and clarity, to focus our minds on certain things. I tend to find freedom in knowing that I don't need to be more. I don't need to be more to be enough. I don't know. I had to sorry, I had to say that in my head before I said it out. So I've come to realize that I find freedom in knowing that I don't need more to be enough. The last episode we talked about success and how impact and growth are various forms of success. So you don't need to have all the money in the world. The money is important, don't get me wrong, but you don't need to have more to be enough. You don't need to have more clothes to be enough. You don't need to have a lot of friends to be enough. You don't need to have all of these things to be enough. Living a minimalist lifestyle doesn't mean we never buy things, never pursue goals, or never indulge in certain things. It simply means we choose consciously so our lives can be filled with purpose and meaning rather than excess and distraction, just things that are not necessary for us. So as you go about your day today, or your evening rather, I encourage you to look around your life and ask yourself, what can I let go of to make space for what truly matters? Whether it's physical possessions, mental clutter, old habits. Remember that minimalism is about creating a life that reflects who you truly are. What truly speaks to you, what makes you stand out, what makes you uniquely you. So basically that's just all for today. Thank you so much for joining me in today's episode of My Unwavering Thoughts. I hope I inspired you to consider how minimalism could add more depth and meaning to your life. If you enjoyed this episode, please do feel free to share it with a friend or leave a comment. I'd love to hear how you're creating a minimalist and meaningful life for yourself. Until next time, stay true, stay grounded, and keep creating a life that's uniquely yours. Remember, you don't need more to be enough. You just need what truly matters. Thank you so much for tuning in to my Unwavering Thoughts podcast. I'll catch you in the next episode where we continue to explore life's beautiful journey. Stay blessed, stay intentional, and embrace the power of simplicity. Mwah! Bye!